Good evening and welcome. I am Amarachi Ubani. Tonight, federal government to spend ₹500 billion on 8 million Nigerians in its 2016 social investment spending project. Nigeria Labour Congress says no going back on its planned strike unless federal authorities revert to the old price of 86 naira 50 kobo per litre for petrol. Police in Oyo State avert farmers-herdsmen clash in Agbanda village in Ogbomosho. And 17 female ministers in France say they will no longer be silent about sexual harassment in politics. All is now set for the federal government to begin implementation of its 2016 social investment and palliative spending targeting 8 million Nigerians. Highlights of the spending, which is contained in the 2016 budget as part of the change agenda, include the direct payment of 5,000 naira monthly to 1 million extremely poor Nigerians for 12 months, amounting to about 60 billion naira. Payment of between 23,000 and 30,000 naira per month to 500,000 unemployed graduates who would be trained, paid and deployed to work as volunteer teachers and public health officials. In addition, 5.5 million school children will be fed for 200 school days in the first phase of the homegrown school feeding program. Finally, stock loans will be directly provided for market men and women, including artisans and workers in the agriculture sector. Some of the traders will get about 60,000 naira each. This amounts to 140.3 billion naira to be shared among 1.76 million Nigerians. Senior Special Assistant for Media and Publicity to the President in the Office of the Vice President, Mr. Laolu Akonde, says this sum will not only assuage the current pains arising from the new fuel price regime, but also provide social safety nets for over 8 million Nigerians in 2016. The countdown to the Nigeria Labour Congress strike has begun, and the leadership of the union is insisting that come Wednesday, all the industrial unions will force their colleagues to down tools. Speaking today, the Deputy National President of the NLC, Mr. Amechi Asuguni, warned that NLC is ready to commence a strike action unless the federal government reverses the petrol price of 145 naira per litre. However, the position of the NLC is at variance with that of Pengasson and Nupeng, which both claim that the federal government consulted with the labour unions before putting the cap of 145 naira per litre. The two unions may not support Wednesday's proposed strike action as they accuse NLC of making a U-turn. The Minister of State for Petroleum, Dr. Ibe Kachuku, last Wednesday addressed the media at the presidential villa in Abuja, where he announced the new pump price regime. In the meantime, the Edo State Petroleum Monitoring Committee has issued a 24-hour ultimatum to marketers to adjust their fuel pumps to reflect the government's approved price of 145 naira per litre or face sanctions. Chairman of the Petroleum Monitoring Committee, Amen Osunde, said this while monitoring activities at service in Ovia Northeast local government area. He urged commuters to report suspected defaulters to relevant authorities.
The recent increase in the price of petrol for some motorists and commuters in Edo State is a reality difficult to come to terms with, as they complain of the drastic change the new price regime has had on fares and cost of doing business.
Since money I've got able to work enough money because of the fuel increasement.
What will I do? I have to drive my car. I just buy 145.
Just from Warri to Lagos. Formerly before is 2,200, but now is 280.
We have to comply with the price the government gave us. Provided all those attendants, they should not say above that 145 the government asks us to be buying.
However, the challenges seem to be heightened by activities other than the new petrol pump price, as some petroleum product marketers are said to be involved in sharp practices, including selling above the price cap of 145 naira per litre, and even under dispensing premium motor spirit to unsuspecting customers.
You are supposed to sell for 145. If you sell above 145, we are going to return the money back to him.
The chairman of the Edo State Petroleum Monitoring Committee, Amel Sunde, speaks on the committee's findings, warning those involved in such illegal actions of dire consequences.
A lot of meters are very bad in this Obia notice. And we have also discovered that 75% of meters in Edo State is very bad. We have given them 24 hours to make sure that they rectify it. And we are using this medium as a continuous exercise, 3-in-1 operation. We continue to go around to make sure that the federal government approved price is being adhered to. The meter is being rectified. And anywhere you have any meter that is not being rectified, you believe that they must have cheated you, you will report to the Petroleum Monitoring Committee via through the government house.
For the Edo State Petroleum Monitoring Committee, the fight to ensure premium motor spirit consumers in Edo State get value for money is a continuous one until that goal is achieved.
Let's take a closer look now at Wednesday's planned strike action by Labour. I'm being joined in the studio on the News at 10 by the Vice President of the NLC, Mr. Amechi Asuguni. Thank you for joining us on the News at 10. Why is Labour embarking on a national strike action at this time?
I think we all saw the arbitrary announcement by the minister with regard to the removal of subsidy, which amount to about 67.6 increase automatically. So as far as we are concerned, it's abnormal, it's unacceptable, it's unaffordable for Nigerians, and a last consideration for the masses. So it must be resisted.
What other ways do you think that this restructuring of the oil sector could have taken place?
I think the idea behind the action is what fears Nigeria, because we also will be asking the same questions to the government. Ordinarily, we expect government to have positioned this country, to have idea of their intention, because nobody knows why they are about to do what they are doing. There's no restructuring effect to their decision. So as far as we are concerned, the action of government to deregulate in this manner is like a shying away from their responsibility, which is not their duty. So as far as we are concerned, there's no plan in their decision. Nigerians ought to know the reason for the removal. You should also tell Nigerians what for what. If you want to remove subsidy, for what purpose? And if should people buy fuel, look at what they have just done. They announced this on Wednesday, putting fuel at 145 at the rate of 320. And as I speak to you, they have also channeled the marketers to go to the black market for the exchange, which has just increased the rate to 380 as we speak, even 390 today. So that is to tell you that the fuel at 145 as of Wednesday may be targeting nothing less than 200 even before tomorrow Monday. So for us, it's unacceptable.
But the government has to peg the price of the pump price of petrol at a particular figure. So what price would you have recommended if you had been at that discussion?
If we, assuming Labour was properly consulted, first they have to establish the PPPR. Then who owns the responsibility of regulating price? You know, when you say government, or they have departments, they have agencies responsible for what and what. A minister coming to announce increase of petrol has no business in doing so. There is a body responsible for that. Such body is not even in place. Such body partner with NNPC. So they know that what they are doing is a disrespect to democracy. It has not, when you talk about consultation is not imposition. You invite me to consult me is to seek my opinion. But
Labour was at that meeting, right?
Labour was invited for the meeting. And Labour arriving the meeting point, bringing the subject matter was resisted. And it was when they left there that they announced the increase. So how do you reconcile that?
Nupeng and Pegason are accusing you of being at that meeting and also agreeing to the cap price of 145 naira per litre to be implemented. They're wondering why you're making a U-turn now.
No, there's no U-turn. Even Nupeng and Pegason knew that they've just made a blunder. The mistake they made out of, I call it shame, because eventually their members didn't send them to take that position. You know, leadership could make some statement out of the proportion of their organ decision. There is no decision by NUPENG NEC members. Neither did the NEC of Pengasing authorize either their president or general secretary to make such position. And by the time they roll out this action on Wednesday, both NUPENG and Pengasing members will be on the street to resist the increase.
Okay, but before Wednesday, if you're called into a discussion on this matter, would you be willing to attend?
Certainly, we are willing to discuss, and don't forget the agenda is straightforward. Reverse it and let's talk. Because when you want to talk, what are you talking? We don't negotiate increase.
But that doesn't sound like a negotiation, because you're already giving your stand. You're saying this is what you want to do. Government doesn't give you, continue.
Somebody has taken a wrong position. Somebody has already made a mistake. So you must correct your mistake before we now do the proper consultation. What is required is to consult. And now they've not done that. So as far as we are concerned, first and foremost, engage the stakeholders, which involve discussion. If you don't engage us for discussion, you don't talk about increase. So first you have to reverse it before we talk about way forward.
We'll have to see how things pan out before Wednesday.
But Nigerians should just store their house with food, because
we will see how things pan out before Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Michia Subuni.
You're welcome.
In part 2, after the break, Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano challenges party faithful to recruit new members for APGA. Please join us again.